Hi, thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Rosie Coronado, and today I will show you how you can simplify customization in Beas Manufacturing with the B1 Usability Extension. The B1 Usability Extension is part of the B1 Usability package, and it's a simple SAP Business One add-on which allows you to customize SAP Business One for your needs. You can tell the system your rules and design the screens to your needs. This will help you to save lots of time and be more productive. Today we will cover some features you can also do on the Beas manufacturing side. For example, you can create buttons on the Beas manufacturing screen. You see right here there's the item report screen, and you might want to have a button and you highlight an item. I will show you this example and say, okay, I want to see the work orders I have for these items out there. Okay, so you can create buttons and make it simpler for you to access data, so you don't have to click around so much. Okay, on the buttons you can attach templates, you can attach external applications, SQL reports, scripts, and print markers. And if you prefer to do a right click instead of a button, you can also do the same just by doing a right click. Okay, so easy access, so you have the data right at your fingertips. Then we have also the item placement tool. With the item placement tool, you can redesign your screen in a very simple way without using coding or any developer, or you don't need any developer experience. It is as simple as right-clicking and drag and drop. Of course, you can have several windows configuration depending what users need. Meaning, I can do a configuration for myself or for my department, but maybe I have the sales department, they need different fields or they need a different configuration. Design the screens to your need. With the Beas Usability Extension, you can add additional UDFs. As you might know, in many areas you can have up to 4 UDFs which are defined in the configuration wizard in Beas Manufacturing. With the B1 Usability Extension, you can add your own UDFs, additional UDFs in Beas, up to 11 more. This will give you a total of 15 UDFs. This is a very popular feature because in production, in manufacturing, you always need additional fields to put in additional data. That's very common. So you can add with the Beas Usability Extension 11 more beside the 4 that come as default. And then we have the validation system. The validation system, you can validate your fields. Make sure the data is correct people are putting in the field. Okay, so let me go in the system and show it to you. You see right here the dashboard. They are included in the usability package, the B1 usability package. It comes with predefined dashboards, and of course you can create your own dashboards. It's a very great tool and very exciting, and I think we have more coming out in May, predefined dashboards for you on the manufacturing side. If I go in here, let me show you this first. When I go to administration, add-on manager, you see right here I have the B1 usability package installed. Okay, and if I go here to the B1 usability package folder and to the configuration screen, you see I have all my features for the B1 usability package of course active. And right here you see use Beas usability extension. This is the feature you need to check to be able to use it on the Beas side also. Okay, so if I go here, let's go into my Beas screen, to the master data and to the item report. So you see on my item report I have my list of items and I have some buttons already. So if I click on item with stock button, on the item with stock button, you see my screen is going to change. I put a color on there and those are all my items that have stock. Okay, So for example, if that's a template I attach to this button, and usually you access the templates by right-clicking, click here, and here are my templates. I'm going to go back to the default, but you see how many clicks that is. That's 3-4 clicks, and if you have a button, you just click on it right there. Work orders. This is one you want to check some items and see what work orders you have out there for these items. And you just attach a SQL report and it pulls up, looks for these items, work orders, and pulls it up for you. Batch window, what this does, it's just going to open a different window. I just told this button, open up another window. So that saves you also a lot of clicks. So you don't have to go out from a screen or open up another screen. You do it straight from where you need it to be. And this is very popular, label printing. For example, you're on the item report and you want to print the label. So you click on it and then you put in the pallet number, for example. You put in the batch number and then the quantity. And you can print it straight from here. That was good feedback from the from consultants. They said this is very popular with the customers. So you can print your label straight from here from the item report. So how do you create those buttons? You just right click and you see on the icon to the very right is the B1 Usability Extension icon. So I can click on here and it would tell me what kind of customization I have in the system on this on the item report screen. Okay, so you always can go back. But right now what I'm going to do is I click on it and I click Edit Function button because that's what we're going to look at. And you see right here on top I have an ID. Let the system fill it in for you. It gives me the name. Description is button definition, and then I can do it for certain users. So maybe I want to do a certain set of buttons for certain users, and then I do another configuration maybe for different users. Okay, and you see right here item with stock. Well, all I did is I created those templates with Beas and then I attached it to a button. If you look at the work order and I drill back what it is, it's a SQL report. It's a SQL report and it pulls me up the item code and it displays my work orders, a list of my work orders. Okay? And the batch window, if you look at that, the one we looked at, it's a script to open the window, a different window. And I will show you. We will do one together. And then the label is also a print macro from Beas, created in Beas. Okay, so let's do another simple button. So all you have to do is click Add, and you can work over here, horizontal or vertical, whatever you prefer. You can collapse that. It's up to you. Okay, I'm just always put the names in here, the text and info in here, and then I move over to the right. Okay, so let's do hardware items. And you see right here, you can do the button to the right, to the bottom, if you have room, or to the top, or as a right click. That's up to you. You put it where you would like to have it. So I'm going to create a button with hardware items. So what this does, first you would create the template. I'm going to go back here. You would go here. I already have it done and I'm going to pull it up for you. And template administration. This is where you put in all your templates you would like to have. So if I click on my hardware item and click edit, just for you to see, it's very simple. You just go in here, you give it a name, and then you filter it. All you do is put in this filter. And in my case, hardware is, the code is 105. Okay, so this is already done. I'm going back to my button, and I'm going here, and I'm going to find it. You can sort your a list of function by type, by ID, whatever you would like. So I'm going down to template because I know it's a template. I'm going to click on hardware item and transfer it and attach it. Okay. So you see right here, should this button be active in add, update, OK mode? If you know the usability package, you know what that means. Or maybe you don't have it active when you're in update mode or in OK mode. But I'm going to make it active on all three types of modes. The position is to the right. You can put an icon in there instead of a yellow button. You can play with the colors. As you see, the item with stock is green. If you want to make the hardware items maybe blue, and then you can change the fonts. So you have a lot of flexibility. So I'm going to leave it like it is. And you see right here, the text is actually goes on the button, and the info is for you. You can put some more information in there. And I'm going to click refresh window. And you will see it's right there. And if I click on this now, you should see only the items, they are hardware items. You see they are in the group hardware. Okay, that's how simple it is to put in to attach a template on the button. So let's create another button, and we're gonna call it we are going to call it personnel screen. Personnel screen. So what we're going to do now, we want to create a button where we're going to open up another window. So I'm going to click here on the equal sign, and those are all my functions, and now I need a new function. I'm going to click new right here, and then you decide what you want it to be. So I'm going to call it 1-webinar, and here I'm going to choose which type. So we're going to do a script, okay? And you're going to see, even if you don't have any script knowledge, this is going to help you actually. This function we have right here in the Beas universal function. If I click on script right here, we have something new called the Open Script Assistant. Okay, so I'm going to click on there, and you have all those predefined commands. So we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to open a window, and it puts in your script, and then you just tell it. I keep it very simple what you would like to open. So let's do the best personnel list. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. That's all I'm going to do. It puts the script here. I'm going to save and close it, and I'm going to add it. So now I'm going to find it here. Let me sort it from here. Here it is. Remember, I called it 1-webinar, just to find it simple. And I'm going to transfer it to my button right here. And I'm going to click refresh window, and I like that. You're going to see the button appearing right here. All I do is click refresh window, and here it is. So if I click on this button, you see the personnel window comes up. And I apologize, it's spelled different everywhere, and I spelled it different too. So maybe you want to move a button to the bottom. Let me show you really quick. So let's put let's put the work order one to the bottom. For example, I'm going to refresh window, and the window adjusts for you. It's gone here, and you see it's here on the bottom. Okay, so you have the flexibility to design the screen you would the way you want it. So the next thing I would like to show you is, if I go out of here and I'm going to production and I go to APS, this is also something that was that came from consultants, that's used very much out in the real world. For example, when you run APS, a lot of times the customer would like to maybe print certain work orders right here. So, and maybe you have 10 work orders and there's 3 you want to print. So you can do that. So I'm just going to click 2 and I'm going to click print selected work order. If I click on this, start printing the selected work order, they actually will print. So you can put a button here. This is a Beas script. I'm more than happy to share it. And you can print the selected work orders you have selected right here with this check mark. That's very handy. That really came from consultants. They ask, is this possible? And yes, it is possible. And you hear my printer going right now. So the next thing I'm want to show you is if I go to my, let me move up here to my resources. I'm going to open up one of my resources. And this is what I mentioned earlier. As a default, you see right here, you have 4 UDFs. This is what you set up when you do the configuration wizard. Okay? And mine are only called UDF 1, 2, 4. But maybe you need more UDFs. You need more UDFs, which makes totally sense. On the resource master data, then you can add 11 more if you would like. And you see you have enough room here. So how do you do it? You right click, you click on the Beas Usability Extension icon, and I'm going to edit item placement tool. So here is my item placement tool. And I have nothing in there. And again, I can design now a screen for certain users, and then I can do another screen design for other users. I'm going to leave them all. So I would like to add a UDF. How am I going to do that? I have a blank screen here. So I'm going to click Add Row, and you see the first row fills in. And all you have to do is you click on the element, and you go down, and you're going to see, you see right here, UDF 5 till 15, because you have 4 already, so we start with 5. I'm going to click on a UDF 5, and I'm going to call it UDF 5, just to keep it simple. And then on the right side, you have a lot of data you can go through. Again, font size, you can put golden era. This is all more advanced. I'm going to keep it very simple. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a UDF. Okay? And I'm going to click refresh window. And you see the screen behind the item placement tool screen is yellow. That means it's in design mode. If I click refresh window, you see it put the UDF up here. I'm going to click back on my item placement tool, so I'm back on design. Okay, because if it has to be yellow to be in a design mode. So I'm going to move this UDF, and let's just move it here right now. Looks good here. Actually, let me move it over here. Okay. So I want to put him here, for example. I'm going to just leave it like this. And then maybe I want another UDF. And what's really nice is if I create another UDF, I'm just going to do 6. And UDF 6. UDF 6. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to click refresh. And you see it's up there. And I'm going to go ahead and drag it. And put it right here. And then you can play how do you want to line it up. If you want to make some bigger, some smaller. Because what's really nice is on this one, you can kind of drag it and make it bigger, wider, whatever you would like. Okay, and of course over here you also have the size. You see right here you can play with that also. Okay, so I have my 2 UDFs attached. They look good, but now maybe I would like to maybe move a field. So I'm gonna click on this field here. And you see, I'm just going to move this down here. I want the pull limit hours down here, for example. So I can start designing the way I want it. Maybe I want it here. So you start designing the way you want it. Okay? And as I said, you can do it for certain users, or you can do it yeah, for certain users, and then you do another customization maybe for different users. So if I go over here, I'm going to go to a different tab. I mean, in uh, design mode. That's why it didn't let me move it. So I'm going to bring it to the front, refresh window. So let's say this is my extended tab, and maybe I don't need some fields. Just like with the usability package, if you're familiar, you can say just hide this item just by right clicking. And it does it for you. It fills everything in for you. And I'm going to click refresh window, and you will see it gone. Oops, it moved back here. So you can set maybe an item, okay, make this item read only, just like you're used to it with the usability package, if you're familiar. And I'm going to click refresh, and you see it's grayed out. Keeps jumping back to the first tab. You can also do make this item, hide this item, or make this field mandatory. You can do that too. Okay. If I click on it, it fills it right in here. It goes in designer mode, and it makes this field mandatory. And you see how it's red. And you see also you can do it manually, of course. You know, you find your element, and here read only, hide only, mandatory field. If you refresh your window, and then it turns red. Okay. So let me see if it took that read only on this one. Yeah, it's read only. Okay. So that's how you design your screen and make it work for you. Just by right clicking, make it mandatory, make it read only, and so on. And of course you can do the same with the UDFs. Okay? So you design it, and what I really like is the drop and drag, what I just did. Oh, I messed this one up. But you just design it, you change the size of the field by just grabbing it and make it a little bit bigger or smaller. It's depending on what you need. For example, I can go in here and make it a little bit bigger. There we go. If you need a bigger field, and then you just refresh your window. So that's your item placement tool. Take advantage of it. Make sure you have the data at your fingertip. Maybe the fields are you have the fields you need, and they're all together. Now, one more thing I would like to show you is the validation. I have two examples in here, and let me go to the item structure first, and I'm going to open one item up. And for example, maybe you have a field and it needs to start with a certain number, with a certain letter. For example, you know, if the item group is items, or if the item group is hardware, you want the match code maybe to start with an age. So you can do that with the validation system. So for example, I have a validation on my match code. So let's say I'm going to put 1, 2 in here and try to tab off. It tells me the match code has to start with Beas. Okay, this is my example. So then I'm going to go back, I'm going to type in Beas. It tells me good job. So you can validate your data. And of course, this is a very simple example, but you can maybe match it up to the item group, as I mentioned, depending what you need. So if I go to my B1 Usability Extension icon, I'm going to click on Beas Usability Extension Overview, because what I would like to see is how did I do that. There's only one validation here, and I'm going to click Edit. And again, Right here, I right click on the field I want to validate. It fills in all the data, but of course you can type it in also. And the event is when the item changes. So you have all these other events. I just did it when the item changed. You can do by right click, double click, and so on. You have many events right here, like form load, when you form add, and so on. Okay? But then over here, you can validate your data with no condition. You always want to check it. In my case, what I did, this one is a Beas script. It says, okay, if it starts with Beas, I want you to say good job. Otherwise, you say the match code has to start with Beas. Okay, so you can do if and else statement. Of course, you can do a SQL statement, and I will show you one, or a bash script, or a macro even. Okay, so if I go to you validate your data the way you want it. So if I go to my operations, let me get out of this screen. I open up my operations catalog, and I'm gonna open up one of them. And here, for example, your manager never wants you to put setup time less than an hour, less than 45 minutes. So it can never be less than that, because till you get started to set it up, it has to be at least 30 minutes or an hour. So if I go in here, for example, I put 20 minutes, setup time cannot be less than 30 minutes. Okay? So if I put 45 minutes, it doesn't do anything. So you control, again, it goes back, control the system. Put a validation in there to make sure that people put at least the 30 minutes, in my case, the correct data in there, so you don't lose any money. So if I go in here and pull up that validation, this validation was done with a SQL condition. Okay? So what this one says is, okay, select case when that field, this is the field name, is smaller than 30, then I want you to trigger this universal function. It's an if and else statement almost. And when it's bigger than 30, then you can trigger another one. So that goes back what I showed you earlier. If it's bigger than 30, mine didn't do anything because I didn't put any results in there, because if it's more than 30, I really don't have to do anything. I could do a message and say, great job. But the most important thing is, what do I do if it's less than 30? Okay, so this line really doesn't have to be in here. It's in there. But what do I trigger then? So if it's less than 30, I'm just going to send a message. Setup time cannot be less than 30. And of course, I can block the event. So this is when the message, the universal function type message, comes in very handy on those conditions, the if and else condition. As you saw in the first one, it says, it has to start with BS, or it says, good job, you did it. And the same here, setup time cannot be less than 30, and then I could actually put one in there and said, great job, setup time is more than 30, that's great, and so on. Just to give you an idea what you can do. This is very simple, very straightforward, but it's your if and else conditions. But yeah, that's how you can control your data on those fields and make sure the users put in the correct data, so so you don't have to worry about that. Okay? So that was it for today. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Hopefully you liked it, and watch out for more of our webinars. We have them almost weekly, and check out all our products we have. Thank you so much.